Good evening. Plenty more reaction tonight to Gigaba's resignation. And in fact, just before you go ahead, Anika, in fact, I'm seeing the statement that has been issued by the chairperson of the Portfolio of Home Affairs.
That's right. He's on his way to us, but I do have with me Nqabayomzi Kwankwa from the UDM, who's got something to some comment on what happened today. A surprise for you, Mr. Kwankwa?
No, not entirely. It's not a surprise for us. It was inevitable that at some point he was either going to be pushed or he was going to have to resign on his own. I mean, President Cyril Ramaphosa had no choice but to let him go at some point. And we think that even when he wrote the letter, he was pushed somehow by the senior leaders of the ANC. Look, you had a minister who was found by the public protector to have lied under oath, but you also had the Constitutional Court judgment going against him, so he had no choice but to leave and to set a good example so that the debate can stop centering around individuals in the country. We can talk about service delivery issues which matter. I mean, I think Mr. Gigaba's presence in that department overshadowed important things that needed to be discussed. No one cared about whether the Home Affairs portfolio was effective or not. The focus was on Mr. Gigaba and his 1,000,001 blunders.
In terms of unity within the ANC, Mr. Gigaba was slightly isolated because at Nasrec he had refused to side with the Nkosazana Dlamini Zuma slate. He was trying to play both sides, I think, but do you think he could see a return to his Youth League roots, his KZN roots, and join the sort of Jacob Zuma revivalist kind of quarter that's been sort of playing out quietly at the moment?
Well, at the moment, really, if we were to look at it as a politician, he's in no man's land politically. And I think it's going to find it difficult to endear himself to the Cyril Ramaphosa faction of the ANC when one considers the numerous blunders he's made over the years. He is now left with no choice but to try and kiss and make up with the JZ faction and see how they can consolidate and maybe rebuild that faction. But look, as a politician, I am not an analyst. I think we'll leave that question up to analysts, but that's my take on the situation.
Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you. That was Nqabayomzi Kwankwa, UDM MP here in Parliament, and him saying there's absolutely no surprise that President Ramaphosa had no choice. Did he say what Gwede Mantashe is supposed to have said to Pravin Gordhan? Please exit with some dignity, or was it a tougher fight than that? We do know that behind the scenes there was a lot of running back and forth. There were meetings being held, and I think that this happened at the very last minute this afternoon. Bear in mind that the President is boarding a plane for Brussels at 7 o'clock this evening. He was to write to the Speaker tomorrow morning, first thing outlining what disciplinary action he was going to take. And as we know, the ruling party does not like to play open cards. They do not like to humiliate and embarrass their members, and that certainly would have been embarrassment to, as still of now, Minister Malusi Gigaba.
And Anika, just before I let you go, for the benefit of our viewers, take us through again the experience that you had in Parliament, because the minister was scheduled to be in Parliament today.
Look, it's certainly we had him appearing last week, which was a very confusing and odd situation. We had the Portfolio Committee on Home Affairs, who's due to chat to us shortly, calling Malusi Gigaba to answer questions after Nikki Oppenheimer said that he had lied to the committee. Malusi Gigaba duly came to the committee, which is unlike some ministers who say that they're ill or not able to make it for some odd reason. He did arrive and he seemed ready, and then the chairperson said that because of all the pending litigation and the public protector's report, it would look as if they were undermining whatever was being said, and therefore Malusi Gigaba could go home. It was a little bit more complex than that, but really he was sent home to bed very late sometime last week. Then he was on what we call the Z list, which comes out to Parliament every day, and it said that he was going to appear before the Portfolio Committee on Home Affairs to discuss an incident that had happened with SADC leaders and ongoing litigation against Home Affairs as the department. But he did not appear. I was told he was due on a plane early this morning to appear before that committee. Then I was told he was going to get on a plane this afternoon. And then the chairperson of the committee said, no, he was never. It was all a mistake. He was not ever due to appear before the committee. So we did have some sense here at Parliament that there was movement, and on the eve of President Cyril Ramaphosa's departure, he wanted a graceful political solution to this rather complicated issue with so much litigation and so much outstanding disciplinary procedures underway in the next few weeks.